Everybody, we are at the Cooler Master booth now at Computex 2017, checking out two new cases. They are both some of these sort of flagship cases. This one is particularly interesting because it's a return to the half series, so to speak. Bit of a different name, but we'll get to this in a moment. And to my right, which we'll see in a minute, there's also a new Cosmos case, C700P. This is the H500P. We'll get to those in a moment, but before that, this coverage is brought to you by Corsair and their new T1 Race gaming chair, which is a bucket-style gaming seat for $350. You can learn more at the link in the description below. So let's start with the half case. For those of you who are newer to the industry, you may not remember the high airflow cases from Cooler Master. They've been not as forefront in the market for a while now. The Half X was probably the previous flagship that most of you would remember. It even came with caster wheels on it. This returns to a lot of the principles from the half series, including two 200mm fans that are included in the front. So that's the whole point of this case, is using larger fans just like the previous cases. It includes two 200s that are RGB. There are potential options for 3 140 in the top, and I'll just point out very quickly, this is a pre-production model from the factory, so you'll see some blemishes on it that will be corrected for the final version. But 3 140s can fit in the top. They're not included on the inside of the top. There's two chambers. The inside of the top, you can fit 3 120s if you prefer that, rather than the protruding 3 140s in this current configuration. And that also allows for an offset for your radiator if you're doing liquid cooling. In terms of internals, the actual case mounting supports full motherboard as always, but the different parts would be the vertical GPU mount. This is a bit of a trend this year. We've seen several cases with vertical GPU orientations. If you don't like that, you can still flip it and do it horizontally, but it is an option for you. Below the GPU, there's a power supply shroud. This part is separable. You can remove it completely or you can slide it back. And underneath are two 3.5-inch hard drive caddies. Above it, they've got liquid cooling mounting, as you can see right here, the reservoir. And then on the back side, there are two 2.5-inch SSD sleds, so you have options natively for two 2.5-inch and two 3.5 or 2.5 on the bottom. If you don't like that and you need more, the front radiator here, if you're not doing liquid cooling, could all be removed, and you can put in drive cages, sort of the semi-modular style that Cooler Master has been doing lately. Power supply goes there, quite obviously, and beyond that, you've got slots for like a 140 back here, full ATX power supply, and that pretty much covers the case as we know it now. The front panel is acrylic. This is acrylic in its current state. And then the side panel is a tempered glass panel. We have some shots of that separately as well. Aside from all of this, price is looking at $140 right now for MSRP. Availability sometime end of September most likely. And we can move now from this case to the Cosmos case, which is the C700P. So now we're at the Cosmos C700P case. The Cosmos series is another return. This is the 10th anniversary version, I believe, and this is one of the larger cases. It's more of a server form factor case, or a basically full enthusiast. In terms of, let me just get the price out of the way because it's a bit expensive. They're looking at something in the range of $300 to $350 MSRP. Availability probably October or something like that. With the housekeeping out of the way, starting with the case, it's obviously massive. It's more in the market of something like an Obsidian or a Pro 900, the Be Quiet case. And on the note of that case, the most interesting feature is the motherboard tray. So the motherboard tray can be removed, and there's two options there. One, you install the system outside of the case, which is always helpful, or two, you remove it and you flip it so you have an inverted layout where your video card would actually be at the top of the case, something like the 600C, for example, or again, the Be Quiet case, but it's modular, so you pull it out, you flip it if you want to. So those are the most interesting features. In terms of other things, it's got these Rgb strips that run the length of the case. There's one on the side, front, and then the bottoms as well. There's a button to toggle them between, I think, something like 7 different colors, not clear on that though. And then it also has synchronization to basically every motherboard on the market. So that would include Asus, Gigabyte, and MSI at least for RGB LED synchronization, which is done through another button on the front panel to the motherboard. Other than that, for airflow, this pulls down and it just sits there. You can remove it if you prefer. And underneath there's a dust filter, as you would expect. It supports 3 140s in the front. It comes with 2 140s in the front. They're both in the front bottom as of now, but that could change. They are not RGB LEDs like everything else in the world is right now. This backside includes a 140mm rear fan, no RGB LEDs, and then for other options for cooling, you can also install radiators in the bottom if preferred. So there's bottom radiator mounting, there's a bracket to do that, and then there's an included dust filter right here. So I'll just pull that out and show that. Other than this stuff, An SSD sled is optional here if you want to expose the SSD, and then there's plenty of other radiator mounting options in the top. For hard drive support and front area of the case, it's 8 3.5-inch hard drives, or you could put SSDs there instead. So that's why I said something like a server or enterprise case. This is a 4mm thick panel. It is tempered glass, and it's curved, which adds quite a bit to the cost. So I think that mostly wraps up the case. Plenty of cable management options, but in something this large, that is to be expected. Again, it's about $300, $350, release date sometime in October. We have some footage will pop up on the screen of the Wheel of Star, it's called, which I believe is a case mod, and it's got a rotating mini ITX case in it. That's here at the booth as well. We're hoping to come back here and cover some of the other more unique items, but that'll get you covered for the 2 flagship cases for now. As always, thank you for watching. You can go to patreon.com/gamersnexus to support our style of reporting directly, or click the subscribe button below to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.